Hello folks, this is another video from Microsoft Excel. The topic this time is page layout. The first part of page layout we're going to talk about is the orientation. The orientation can either be portrait or it can be landscape. The file that I've chosen is the Rock and Roll Belfast Club, and this time it's dealing with the summer classes for the dance that is available. If we take a look at the screen, you can see that columns A, B, and C are going to form the very first page. And I know that because I can see a dotted line that appears the whole way down between column C and column D. That tells me that's the page break. And if I look from columns D, E, F, and G, you can see again I have a dotted line that pops the whole way down between G and H to tell me that that would be page 2. So if I was to print this, I would end up with A, B, and C on one page, D, E, F, and G on another page, and then the rest of it would be blank. The first thing that I want to do then is I want to be able to change the orientation. I move from my Home tab and I click into Page Layout. The ribbon will automatically change to display everything that I can do to change the layout of the information that sits within the Excel spreadsheet itself. If I come to the Page Setup section, you can see the second icon along is Orientation. So if I click the mouse to the drop-down arrow, you can see I'm set for Portrait at the moment, but I can slide down and pick up for Landscape. Now when I've picked up for Landscape, you physically don't really see a lot change on your screen, but you should be able to see that the dotted line, which was between the C and the D, has now moved between F and G. So for example, my first page then would stretch from A, B, C, D, E, and F, and then the second page would begin at G. So what I've effectively done then is I've put the information that I want for the Rock and Roll Club summer classes, and I've now been able to display that onto one page. And I did that by changing the orientation from portrait to landscape. Now, the second thing we want to take a look at then is by putting in a header and footer. I will show you two different ways of doing that, and you can decide which way you want to use. If I click to my insert, you'll see that the tab will then bring up the ribbon associated with everything I can insert into the Excel spreadsheet, very similar to Microsoft Word. If I come across to almost at the end to the text section, and I click where it says header and footer. Now once I click into header and footer, what happens is we change how the page actually looks. So I change from what's called normal view that we use in Microsoft Excel into page layout view. And that's why if I move the mouse across then, and I'm just going to shrink down the size of the screen so you can see what's going on. That would be why, for example, I'm then seeing my columns A to F and G the whole way to R. So this would be my page 1 and this would be my page 2. Now you can see that I've added my name as a header. So I'm going to come back into that and just increase the size back of the screen so it's easier for me to type. So for example, if I wanted to add something in, for example, just type in video for page layout so we know what it is. You can see at the moment that this cell has actually been highlighted. So I know that I'm working inside the header area. So I do need to take the mouse and click outside so that it brings me back into the Excel spreadsheet itself. The reason that I need to do that is I need to change my view. It's always best to work with what we're used to, and what we're used to is the normal view. So if I take the mouse to where it says view and click in there, you'll see the ribbon will change. You can see that I'm in page layout, but I really want to be in normal. So if I take the mouse and I click into normal, that will automatically bring me back to the view that we're most used to. If I click back into the page layout, I can take a check then to make sure that I have put my header on and then come back to normal. Now that seems to be a two-step process, and it's a process that I'm not 100% happy with if I'm using it, because I don't like to have to do more than one step. Another way of actually doing your header and footer is if you click into your page layout option. Okay, now we've seen this before when we were doing the orientation. But if I come to the page setup section itself, you will see the little expand arrow that sits in the bottom right. And if I click into that expand arrow, it brings me up a dialog box, and that dialog box is everything inside that I can see from the icons here. So for example, I could change from landscape to portrait rather than have to go down the orientation tab. I can change margins if I wanted to, but the important one here is the header and footer. Now you can see at the moment the header has been set here for Bríd Rae video for page layout, because that's the header that I've put in. But if I click here for custom header, it will automatically bring me into the header section. And you can see it's been typed in. So I'm going to delete that altogether. I'm just going to write topic. Okay, page layout. And click OK. You can now see that the header has changed, and it's changed to topic page layout. And if I click OK again, it will bring me back to my main spreadsheet view. Now you obviously can't see what's going on, but if you go back into your view and go to page layout, you will see that the header has now changed. Another way of looking for your page layout and changing and checking that your header is actually there, if you go to your File tab and slide down to Print, just like word processing, we do actually see, if you like, a printout of what we're going to see before we print it out. And you can see then set up here is what's going to appear on my page 1. And you can see here topic page layout. So that is a quicker way of looking to see how your header has been set up and if it's set up correctly. Now those eagle-eyed people among you will actually say, well, you did change it to landscape and now you've changed it back to portrait. At my print stage, I can slide down to where it says portrait orientation, and I can pick that up and change that to landscape orientation to see if it will look better in portrait or landscape. And I'll just go back. So there are different ways that you can actually bring in your header and footer, and different ways where you can check to see if your header and footer has been put on. I have a tendency to use the page layout and the expand simply because I don't have to keep changing the views, and I always see what I'm normally used to. But you, the user, will make up your own mind. This is now the end of this video. Thank you.